So I'm going to try and go a little bit more slowly than I would normally go. I tend to get very excited about the subject of vans. We call light-duty vehicles vans in the UK, or LCVs. I focus entirely on ELCVs. And I've been in the fleet industry for about 25 years. I know I don't look old enough, but I am. And 20 of those years I've been focused on vans. And I first drove an electric van back in 2004. So they've been around for quite a long time, but we've seen tremendous development over the last few years. And I have remained very close from about 2016 while working in LeasePlan, now a company called Avons, but LeasePlan you might be familiar with, who do work in this country. And my job today is to bring you a gift. It's nearly Christmas, right? So it's time for a gift. And the gift is a gift of opportunity, a gift of insight, hopefully a gift of inspiration. Inspiration to act in a particular space that will give you back 100-fold. So I really believe that if you invest in supporting the commercial vehicle space, be that light commercial vehicles or the heavy commercial vehicles, typically they're very loyal. There is a big challenge, as we'll see, and this sector will give back to you. So why should we in this room bother about electric commercial vehicles? Well, you can see that the van market has had continuous growth. Sorry, I don't know if I can get the slides down here to work as well. They're not working. Anyway, I can go here. But the van market has seen continuous growth in the UK since 2010. And across Europe, there are 29.5 million vans and an awful lot of trucks and buses as well. They do, on average, around twice the mileage that a typical passenger car will do, and are also responsible for a commensurate amount of emissions. So a typical van will emit at least twice that of the passenger car. I make this statement that the van market in the UK is worth 1.7 billion pounds, or around 2-point-something million euros per day. If you want to know how I got to that number, you can come and chat with me afterwards. But it is a very valuable business, and the vans themselves are making a lot of money for the businesses. We've got about 74,000 of them on the road in the UK now, and that is growing reasonably quickly. 7.4% of all vans registered in Europe were electric in 2023. But I will tell you that the numbers are currently running at 5.7%. So that's going backwards, and that's not where we want to be. The whole van market in the commercial vehicle sector, as early as you are in your journey as Greece in the electrification process, vans and trucks are even further behind. But the important thing is there is lots of vehicles available to make that change. So you can see here that the van market across Europe has grown 8.5%. So it's a growing market. And you could probably think immediately of why the market sector is growing, because of home delivery, particularly in supermarkets or Amazon, your parcels. And we see that as a continued sector, but also the field services, people doing jobs from the back of a van. The sector is continually growing. Trucks have dropped back a little bit, but buses are growing also. The electrification of buses is quite a lot in the UK, and I think somebody mentioned here in Greece, maybe around 60% of buses registered will be electric in the UK, and possibly the same here. And also trucks are also starting on that journey, but they're particularly starting at the really big and heavy end. But the vans are also moving that direction. And many of the large companies around the world are governed by ESG targets, targets that demand that they focus on the CO2 emissions, the climate sustainability of what they do. And vans and transport, as we've heard today, is one of those key areas that they are asked to focus on. As you can see here in this slide, I wanted to put this up to show that ECV, or electrically charged vans, will be less this year than they were last. So what that leads me to believe is there's a problem. But where is that problem? Is it the vehicles? Are there enough vehicles on the road? The answer is a resounding yes. This is the vehicles that are available in the UK, and I think almost without exception, these are available across Europe. And you might have vehicles that are here from Chinese manufacturers that we don't have in the UK. But we have a lot of vehicles that are perfectly capable of delivering from both a distance scenario and also a payload example, so that the ability to carry the goods. And you and we in the UK have the ability to use a dispensation to operate heavier. So we can go to 4.25 ton, not just the 3.5 ton that we used to be able to accommodate the batteries, but also get incredible more value. Payload is really critical for some companies, and this can really make a difference. But not only have we got what we've got, we've also got a load of stuff coming soon. There's a top right is a British development coming, and obviously we've got Ford that are bringing that new vehicle. Bottom left, you've got a vehicle from Canoe, which is often cited as being that really futuristic looking vehicle. And then going back retro, the Morris JE, and of course Kia coming to the market, which I think is really interesting, because if you think of electric vehicles in the car world, Kia are doing very, very well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that van come to the market. So what is our biggest problem? Well, fortuitously for us, because we are in a charging and battery conference and we've been talking a lot about vehicles, the problem that we have is charging and power. And if you're an entrepreneur, a business person, or a salesperson that wants to make a difference, then this is where you can solve a problem. If you can solve a problem for the market, you will make money. You will do well in your career. That's why, me being probably the dumbest person in the room, I make a career out of asking lots of questions. I'm able to make a career from vans because nobody else was trying to solve this problem. I've stepped into that to try and help, to try and make a difference. So if you don't believe me that the problem is charging and power, I want to introduce you to some friends of mine on a little video which we will run. I apologize in advance for some of the sound here, but hopefully you'll get the idea.
At Network Rail, our biggest challenge for fleet electrification is probably getting the power to our sites. As you'd imagine, Network Rail is a very old company with a lot of old sites, and it wasn't designed with the power we need in mind. So getting those grid upgrades for the chargers is paramount importance for us.
The biggest problem with electrifying our fleet of Royal Mail is, of course, power. As we electrify our fleet, we are seeing more and more power restrictions being imposed on us, and the costs of unlocking those restrictions is, of course, astronomical. We need to find new ways, we need to work with new companies that have great options that don't necessarily mean a lot of power. We need to use what we've got in a better way.
For us at Network Rail, it's around infrastructure and getting power to the right places to make sure that we can charge our vehicles and keep our fleet mobile.
I think that our biggest challenge is vehicle capability, probably right now payload. So as we design the vans, payload is definitely an issue. Going into the future, charging could well be a problem. We need to get the vehicles into service and then see where we go from there.
At Openreach, one of the biggest challenges we face is the availability of charging infrastructure in the place we need it with the power that backs it up. So we operate all over the UK, we're very rural, and it's not always exactly where we need our vehicles to charge.
All at DPD, like many logistics companies, it will be the availability of energy and the cost of energy that really is challenging.
So you can see that there are some very real challenges when it comes to charging. They cited the need for power in the right place. One of the things that we talked about earlier, I think, within Greece and within the grid here, but it's the same all over, is that sometimes the energy is not in the right place at the right level, and we need more power to meet those challenges. And also, we know that public charging is not really an option for this sector of the market. Research done around 50 companies, 50 large companies, much like the companies that you saw there, like the Royal Mail, Network Rail, DPD, and so on. They're big companies, and those companies represent nearly 100,000 vans in the UK. And they all say that using public charging is very unproductive. We saw that the van market is worth 1.7 billion a day. And if you talk to a big company called British Gas or Centrica, they will tell you that they'll lose 18 days a year to charging. So in their world, that costs them upwards of 12 or 13,000 pounds in productivity. So when you add that into the total cost of ownership, then you are in real trouble. So we've got to come up with solutions that are clever, that answer all of these problems around speed, space, generally the knowledge. Reliability is key, and I'm really pleased to see some presentations talking about minimizing downtime and maximizing uptime. So, you know, a humble fleet manager, like some of the guys we saw there, when they are faced with this problem of electrification, this looks really challenging. But actual fact, we are just worried about that little bit in the bottom. The electric vehicles themselves, and maybe the charge points, but really we'd like to give the charge points away to somebody else. But also, this bit over here is a problem, but they don't know about it, because that's the bit that gets the power to the place where we need it. So sometimes we need to think, how do we get rid of all of this bit? Because we know that the grid upgrades are very expensive, running into millions of euros. So how can we make a difference there? Well, I want us all to look with the eyes of innovation, not the eyes of what we see today. So let's not just look at what we see in front of us, but let's look to the future, look to all the different things. Now, solar for us in the UK is a little bit of a joke. You know, we don't get quite as much as you guys do here in Greece, but it does make a big difference. So we can also see that companies are able to deploy solar free of charge, so that they then enter into an agreement with the company and it comes back to them. But also we need to integrate it with battery systems. And microgrids, as you might call them, are the thing of the future, I believe, where you're combining renewable energy with battery storage and then deploying it locally. But the other thing, and somebody was talking about it in a domestic sense or a consumer sense, is sharing. But I've put that up there because I believe there's a big opportunity within sharing in commercial vehicles. Vehicles travel between specific places many times, and they're going to regular customers that also have ESG targets or challenges of their own. So if everybody can share the network, be that AC or DC charging, then it can accelerate that transition to electric commercial vehicles. So I also wanted to share with you something of a microgrid. Now, this is a video which I do some videos on LinkedIn from time to time. I do get quite excited, so the English might be a bit quick, and I'm sorry for that, but hopefully it gives you an impression of a really great solution that I came across in the UK.
Hey everybody, I am here at the EV Cafe Village and we are setting up, and I'm surrounded by my favourite thing, electric vans. They are everywhere. But the biggest challenge that electric vans face when out in the wild is that they have to charge, and they have to charge at 79 or 85 pence per kilowatt hour. And as I reported last week, this seems to be a really big challenge because it means that our lovely vans are paying more than diesel, which is nuts. Okay, so step up AW Group. This is an exclusive announcement to you at home, in your vehicle, in your home, in your office, wherever you are. You get to know now that Chetchley Wood is now just charging 39 pence a kilowatt hour. Now that is not a time of use tariff. That is an all of the time tariff. We might get even better time of use tariffs as the wind churns the turbine around. They want to disrupt our industry. They want to put in pricing that is competitive. They want to put wind turbines, onshore wind turbines, to demonstrate how renewable energy can go straight into the vehicle. I enjoyed said 39 pence charging.
So first things first, I'm going to get a charge. 39 pence a kilowatt, 150 kilowatt charges. That sounds good to me. And that is me charging. All good to go with renewable energy as its source. 39 pence a kilowatt. Did I mention that?
But not just me. It was OpenReach as well. There was 2 vehicles that turned up just as I was, and they were probably the very, very first commercial operators to use these chargers at 39 pence. It just got me a little bit excited, I have to tell you. So electric vans will be able to go electric at a reasonable price.
So that leaves us with the challenge. My challenge to this room. There is an opportunity. There are enough vehicles. There are not enough energy solutions. That one there, a reasonable price, 39 pence per kilowatt hour, that's really low for the UK. And so we need more solutions. And you guys are the people to bring them. So I want to inspire and encourage and challenge you to use your entrepreneurial skills, your innovation. And if you want to come and do it somewhere which is a little bit further along with electric vehicles, come and try and test in the UK so that you can grow and build for Greece as you begin to accelerate your transition to zero-emission vehicles. So if you want to get connected with me, feel free. You can scan that QR code or come and chat with me afterwards. But thanks for being here, and hopefully you are accepting of my Christmas gift. Have a good day.